Disney doesn't do things halfway, and following the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, viewers are now eager to learn more about the show's future. We at least know that Season 3 is coming, which is excellent news for Mando and his lovable Muppet companion fans. Now we just have to wait. The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka and Andor are already published, and there are more Star Wars spin-offs on the horizon. Despite this, The Mandalorian continues to be one of the galaxy's most enduring favorites. Here is all the information you need to know about Season 3 of The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian Season 3 potential release date. When will it return on Disney+? The Mandalorian's third season will premiere in February 2023. Producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni announced as part of the Star Wars celebrations on May 26, 2022. Then Ahsoka will come after this later that year. Even the cast was unsure when it might happen, so the announcement finally put a lot of rumors to rest. "You'll get it as soon as possible," Moff Gideon actor Giancarlo Esposito remarked on The Rich Eisen show. "To put the finishing touches on my job, I still have a few tasks to finish. However, I think it will go place this summer. Although a specific date has not yet been announced, it will." However, it was mentioned that the program would debut in late 2022 or early 2023 in a significant Star Wars interview for Vanity Fair, including Pedro Pascal and the other new prominent stars of the galaxy. The Mandalorian would premiere in December, according to a prior report by TV Line, following the release timetable of earlier seasons. Now that we are certain that Din Djarin and Grogu won't be returning for the remainder of 2022, at least there are plenty of other Star Wars shows to keep us occupied, starting with the recently released Obi-Wan Kenobi series. The Mandalorian Season 3 cast, who will be in it? The return of Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin, the titular Mandalorian on whom the entire series is based, was announced as part of the release date announcement. Pascal's stand-in following the Season 2 conclusion. Brendan Wayne stated on Instagram that there will be no spoilers. But just in case nobody else in the world already knew, Pedro Pascal is amazing. They wrote the most exquisite voyage for him this season. Pedro's decision to go beyond the page and create something amazing. "I appreciate Pedro Pascal." He continued, "Yes, Pedro is returning. Never was there any doubt. Not everything you read should be believed. It is a relief that Baby Yoda will return for more intergalactic adventures since he is now in high demand. Glad they were able to secure that deal." Katee Sackhoff, who portrays Bo-Katan Kryze, is one significant comeback that has been confirmed. She said the character has unfinished business during the Star Wars Celebration announcement event. The fight between Bo-Katan and his erstwhile ally Din Djarin over control of the Darksaber may be hinted at by this frightening warning. "There are so many stories to choose from. I have no idea if we'll see any of that because I don't write the program," Sackhoff stated. Bo had a very specific objective last season, and she refrained from using the Darksaber. That probably caught a lot of folks off guard. She is plainly doubting herself as a result. Additionally, it appears that we might spend some time in the mines of Mandalore. As a fan of this character, Sackhoff stated, "Seeing Mandalore again was something that, as a person who loves this character, the weight of that was not lost on me." It's interesting that Ming-Na Wen, who plays Fennec Shand, expressed some uncertainty when asked about her character's role in the third chapter by Digital Spy. "I'm not sure. Probably before I do, you'll learn the truth. You people are always putting out feelers," she added. "You're asking the wrong person because I didn't even know I was filming the Book of Boba Fett." Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon, has revealed that the character would have a larger role and be more frightening than ever in Season 3. He explained to Metro that the supervillain was all-knowing, technologically savvy, and knowledgeable about a variety of other topics. You will therefore soon meet Moff again, sufficient to say. Ahsoka Tano and Greef Karga are two further potential returnees. Cara Dune is one character that won't be appearing again. Gina Carano was fired from The Mandalorian after the first 2 seasons of filming because of abusive social media remarks she shared. More information on that is available right here. When criticized by a caller after Carano's firing, Disney CEO Bob Chapek responded, "I don't really see Disney as characterizing itself as left-leaning or right-leaning. However, instead of standing for values, according to The Hollywood Reporter, values that apply to everyone. Principles of respect, principles of decency, integrity, and inclusivity are values." Her agent at the time, United Talent Agency, also dropped Carano. Be prepared for more guest stars to arrive in Season 3 of The Mandalorian now that the show is establishing stronger connections with a galaxy far, far away, especially those who are familiar with the Force. Perhaps young Luke Skywalker will pay us a visit once more. One of those fish nuns from The Last Jedi is who we're betting on. Speaking of the jaw-dropping scene from Mando Season 2, actor Sammy Hamill posted a sincere response online, thanking director Peyton Reed for the chance. In a message to Reed, Hamill said, "Dear Mr. Peyton Reed, I am very thankful to have been given the unexpected opportunity to rejoin my character when he was still a beacon of hope and optimism. The event was made possible in large part by your confident leadership and generosity, which means more to me than words can express. Oh, and don't be shocked if the incredibly great Bryce Dallas Howard returns to direct another episode in Season 3. See what she has to say about the villainous Baby Yoda here, as well as the largest criticism of Season 2 here. When questioned about the show's diversity, Weathers acknowledged that one of the directors for Season 3, naturally, Rick, who is present, is in front of the camera and serves as an executive producer for our program. Rick also directed me on a few episodes of The Mandalorian this season, and I love them a lot. The Mandalorian Season 3 plot, what will the third season be about? There is a lot of speculation about what will happen in Season 3 of The Mandalorian because the end of Season 2 felt like a relatively conclusive moment. The post-credits scene was once thought to have been added to provide a brand new narrative centered on Fennec Shand and Boba Fett. That's correct. Nonetheless, it was the Book of Boba Fett. Not really a Mandalorian story per se, but of a spin-off that occurs concurrently with the Mandalorian arc. Ning Na Wen said to Digital Spy, "When I was told I was going to become a series regular, I just instinctively thought it was for The Mandalorian Season 3. And when the scripts were released, they stated 301, 302, 303, and 304. Because it doesn't specify The Mandalorian on my contracts, I simply believed that I was agreeing to participate. As a result, I was working with Tim and Robert for 2 weeks without realizing that I was actually filming the spin-off. When the actors and crew learned, they were already dead. It was really bizarre. So, yeah, it was fantastic to finally learn that I was filming the Book of Boba Fett. In a sense, it's referred to as The Mandalorian 2.5, so I wasn't completely wrong. The final episodes of Boba Fett set up the plot for the upcoming season of The Mandalorian. But in case you missed this tasty nugget here, it is for fans who are all caught up on the Book of Boba Fett. Boba and Fennec are uncomfortable with the thought of being seen as heroes as the episode draws to a climax, which seems sensible given their brutal past. Fennec responds to Boba's statement that we are not suited for this. If not us, who else? When a stranger offers them a melon, they realize the answer. The leaders of the cyborg street gang of mods, Black K.R. Santon and Sophie Thatcher's Drash, receive it from Fett. Theoretically, these individuals might take Boba Fett's place in Jabba the Hutt's previous position, allowing Boba to depart and resume his life as a bounty hunter. If not the candle, then the melon. Then Mando and Grogu fly off in a fleeting but endearing glimpse. Thus, the tale we then anticipated would begin. The Mando and Grogu reunion from The Mandalorian Season 3 has already taken place in Boba Fett, which is rather consoling. When Grogu and Mando were torn apart, the fundamental idea of the program appeared to be in jeopardy. We sincerely appreciate the manufacturer putting them back together, and it appears that Pascal feels the same way. It was frightful, wasn't it? To be divided in such a manner, Pascal said. John and Dave called me, and they told me that, as far as Mandalorian and Grogu were concerned, they would be bridging Seasons 2 and 3 with the Book of Boba Fett. Just fantastic, in my opinion. What I didn't anticipate is such a lovely, lonesome episode that Bryce Dallas Howard superbly handled. Additionally, for the reunion to be meaningful but also merely abrupt and natural. We're living in a vast universe with a lot to discover, Giancarlo Esposito said in an interview with People, hinting at what to expect from The Mandalorian Season 3. The depth and breadth that will come in Seasons 3 and 4, when you're truly going to start getting answers, will start to be laid out in this show, in my opinion. Director of the Season 2 episode The Heiress, Bryce Dallas Howard, spoke with Digital Spy on the show's willingness to go into the larger Star Wars universe and incorporate things that a less ardent fan might not be aware of. Of course, she remarked, I believe it's an extremely fine balance. Since I work in the Jurassic series, for instance, it's like, okay, we can have fun with some deep cuts for the fans, but at the end of the day, it's about a good tale, properly told. As an actor, I am familiar with those kinds of questions. What does that balance mean? How may something from The Lost World or another source be used into the plot of Jurassic World, Dominion? If you're creating a story that is a biopic and there are a lot of minor characters, she continued, it will only better inform the biopic that is centered on the one figure because you can go and read about all of them because they existed, and their lives are well documented and whatnot. Because even if other characters aren't the main focus of the story, they are completely fleshed out and will be there. Now that we are aware of the 3 upcoming spin-off shows, these remarks make a lot more sense. Given that the Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka are all set in the same time period as The Mandalorian, don't be shocked if they interact with the main series in some way. In fact, Season 3 might directly set them all up. Rangers of the New Republic is still a mystery to us, but its Ahsoka spin-off was pretty much a foregone conclusion after the character's live-action debut in The Mandalorian Season 2. Of course, Boba's solo project is already available. Regarding the Season 3 narrative, Pascal said, I am told what's happening and what the strategy is, but I can't discuss anything. They are in the world's expansion, which will include dealing with a great lot of unanticipated surprises and timetables. If the character were to enter one of these realms, it would be used in a manner against expectations. I don't want to give away the surprise of whether or not familiar individuals from the show are transferring. Pascal may not have known everything either, as some rather important narrative details from Season 2 were kept a secret from the cast, including the shocking Luke Skywalker cameo, which wasn't even divulged to those who were in the scene with him. I had no idea. When asked during the production who she thought the character was, Katee Sackhoff responded, "They didn't tell us. An actor with dots on his face was present. If it had been Luke, I mused, they would have told us that," she remarked. Well, they claimed. Who did they claim it to be? Although it was a perfect false herring, I believe Robin Gadsby, Sackhoff's partner, knew who they claimed it was. Thus, we were unaware. I recognized it as a Jedi. I recognized it as an X-Wing. You begin to put things together, but you are uncertain. However, given that Jon Favreau decided to incorporate the appearance very late in the day, it's possible that it wasn't in the screenplay. Favreau claimed, "The story developed as I wrote it." The Mandalorian borrows heavily from previous Star Wars stories, and I always keep that background in mind when I write. It became apparent that specific events were likely to occur within the defined continuity. Hamill was surprised when Favreau presented the concepts to him. He commented on The Tonight Show, "I had completed performing that part, and I never intended to do it again." I assumed they would cast an actor who was the right age if they ever told stories about Luke during that time after the originals and prequels. I was therefore shocked to hear what series creator Jon Favreau and producer Dave Filoni had in mind. Sackhoff hopes that both story catons will continue, although she is also unaware of that. The unresolved business, Sackhoff stated, would be one of the routes that could be gone down, given the way that Lucasfilm left me in Season 2. But you just don't know, right? That is so far beyond my pay grade, you know. I'm just eager to see what they come up with as a fan of the show. Anyhow, you may anticipate a variety of genres. Carl Weathers said to Empire, "Oh, there was a little more, I guess, in this one." Even though they're separate episodes, he noted, it's not like traditional episodic television. This is not a procedural, a dark comedy, or a whodunit. In addition to being so many diverse things, it is also an action-adventure. You have the opportunity to put your expertise and ability to deliver in those various areas to use as a director. Even the best conceivable Mando guest appearance from the galaxy far, far away may appear in Season 3, though there's a chance Favreau will save it until Season IV. George, Charles Lucas, the best cameo would be that one. He would have to be Baron Papanoida's son or something similar. I'm not sure. I wouldn't even hazard a guess on that. I find it difficult to picture what that day might be like, remarked Favreau. The third season would be focused on Mandalore, with the Mandalorian homeworld playing a big role, Favreau further confirmed. We established in the Book of Boba Fett that the Mandalorian had a chance to be saved because he had violated the creed by taking off his helmet. And among the Mandalorians in his gang, that is not acceptable. Now that we are aware of it, other Mandalorian tribes exist with different sets of rules. We saw in the Clone Wars that Mandalorians there are significantly different thanks to Dave and a character I voiced. Therefore, these many groups are getting together, and we'll find out how they all. Of course, their exiled homeworld of Mandalore serves as the focal point for all of those groups. Giancarlo Esposito has been hinting at some fantastic dark side material in the meantime. The wardenship of Moff Gideon, according to the actor, was a part of a larger effort by the Empire to uphold law and order in various regions of the galaxy after their rule ended. Esposito asserts that we all would want someone to stand up and have some type of vision for how to be about all of us when everything goes apart. You have no leadership, and everything is just disintegrating. Gideon has his own territory and is managing it as harshly as he can. But he notices that other wardens aren't up to his standards when he looks around. Aren't quite as powerful and strong as he is. He experiences the feeling of, oh, I can sort all this out. Drunk with the illusion that his vision is better, Gideon has become. That strikes us as the ideal starting place for a highly thrilling S3 arc. The Mandalorian Season 3 trailer, when can we see a promo? The first Season 3 teaser trailer, which debuted at D23 and debuted online, may be seen above. It's still too early for a full trailer, but that's okay since there are a ton of Baby Yoda memes and videos floating around that are deserving of being viewed repeatedly in the meantime. The other Star Wars series will at least keep us engaged until the premiere. As soon as we learn more, we'll let you know. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.